This is the plaintiff, Waynita Perryman. She says the defendant's a woman her father had been having an affair with, and the kook burned down her house. That's right, her beautiful house actually blew up and exploded from the fire. She didn't have fire insurance, and she's here suing this despicable woman for the $6,000 she's entitled to sue for. This is the defendant, Naomi Jones. She says she turned the burners on in the kitchen, and next thing she knows, she has burns on her chest. The authorities investigated her for any type of malice, but she did nothing fraudulent, and no charges were brought against her. This was a fluke accident, plain and simple. She lived in the house with the plaintiff's father, and because she did nothing wrong, she owes this hostile daughter nothing. She's accused of torching the place.
All parties, please use your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Waynita Perryman, you are suing Naomi Jones for $6,000 for burning down your house. Tell me what happened.
Naomi previously dated my father.
Okay.
They had a very violent relationship.
Now, she started dating your father when your father and mother were still together?
Yes.
And how did you learn that?
When I first met her, I didn't know who she was. Like, I went to my parents' house to get my brother, which I'm not even sure why he's here. I went to visit him, and he wasn't there. I went in the backyard, and she was just there. And she told me she was waiting for my father. My father, over the years, has had problems with, like, substance abuse.
What substance?
Cocaine, alcohol a lot. So I thought at the time that that was a person that he was probably about to do drugs with. Mm-hmm. And so I told her, well, you can't wait here for him. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere. I can sit where I want to sit. And I'm like, no, you need to leave. So that ended up into like a physical altercation. At that point, though, I still had no idea.
Wait, what happened? So the two of you
Yes.
got in a fist fight? Who
Yes.
separated you? How did it end up ending?
My fiance separated us.
Okay.
I still didn't know who she was at the time. So a few weeks later, like, that's when I found out who she was, like, in talking with my mom and everything.
Did your mom know who she was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She said that they had been having an affair for a few months, and she was a friend of my brother's. I guess that's how my father met her. She was
Is that accurate? That's why you're here?
Yeah.
Okay, go on. So your mother kicks him out.
Yes. She kicked him out. So in January, I went over to my mom's house, and he was sleeping on the porch. It was cold outside, everything, and I felt bad for him. So I told him, like, he was saying that he was trying to get into one of those, like, income-based housing. But I was like, well, you know, you don't have to sleep outside. You can come stay with me until you're able to get your housing. But you cannot have no company in my house when I'm not there.
Okay, is this a house that you are living in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you live in multiple houses, or this is the house you were living in?
I was like, me and my children live there. I would occasionally, like, spend the night or visit, like, at my boyfriend's house.
With the children?
Sometimes.
No. Okay.
Sometimes.
All right.
But that primarily, like, we lived
Okay.
there.
Got it.
But I told him, like, he could not have company in the house, period. So he moved. He moved in, and almost immediately, it was a problem. One night that I did leave, like, me and the kids, we went to my fiance's house at the time. We were spending the night over there, and when I came back, she had been there, and they had got into, like, a physical altercation. She had stabbed him in his hand, and in their tussle or fight, they bust out a window. A neighbor called the police, and he had a warrant for violation of probation.
For being on probation for what?
I think theft.
Okay.
I think it was like a theft charge.
Okay.
So he went to jail, and I basically thought that was the end of it. Like, he's in jail. He was, like, waiting trial. I didn't know what was going to happen with that, but I didn't intend to see her again. About a week later.
Were you ever there while she was there?
No.
So if she came over, it was behind your back?
Yes.
All right. And this is the house you're living in?
Yes.
All right. So about a week later?
About a week later, I was at work, and one of my neighbors called and said, hey, that girl, she's down here at your house again. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, she's at your house. And she was like, I think your brother's car is there. So I'm like, why would they be at my house? So I left work, came down there. She was there. And
Was your brother there?
yes,
Did you ask him, what are you doing in my house?
yes.
What'd your brother say? I'm more interested in what your brother had to say.
He said he was bringing her to pick up some of her things.
Okay.
And I'm like, she doesn't have anything here. So she left.
How did they get into the house?
A window.
They broke a window?
No, it didn't. She didn't break it. She went in through the window.
Okay, go on.
That was the first incident.
Did you ever call the police and
Yes.
say she broke in?
I did, because 2 weeks later, I got another phone call from that same neighbor. She was there again.
What's the deal with you in that house?
Because that's my boyfriend's house, and that's where I was staying.
Is it his house or is it her house?
Whoever house it was, that he had access to it, so that's why I was there.
Okay, did you ever go there while she was there?
She wasn't never there.
Is that where she lived? Is that her home base?
I couldn't tell.
Well, how often were you there?
3-4 times out the week, probably.
3 or 4 times of the week during what time of the day?
Majority of the time in the morning.
In the
Throughout the
morning when
day.
she was at work?
If that's where she was at.
Okay, well, then sounds to me like you're hiding from her, because otherwise, if that's your boyfriend, the natural thing would be that you would be there at night when she is there. So did you get in through the window, like the neighbor says?
Yeah.
To do what?
I was waiting for my boyfriend there
Okay, and were you with her brother?
at one time.
Come on up, please. What's going on? Whose house is it?
It was told to be her house. It's my sister's house.
Okay, so do you know that your sister doesn't want her there?
At some point, it wasn't like that. Then
Yeah, your
I
sister
thought
never
about it.
approved of her.
Yeah, she
Your sister
definitely
never
did.
approved of her, because your parents were married 30 years. Is that your mother too?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know your sister didn't want her there. Why are you taking your friend to go into your sister's house? Why is that?
It was supposed to be just to get some of her belongings or whatever. That's
It
all
was
it is.
not there.
Okay, why
all it
wouldn't you
was,
just
though.
do it legitimately then instead and call her and say, listen, Naomi needs her belongings. Can we set a time? And I go, why don't you do it that way?
Because I really didn't want to get in the between that. I didn't
How'd that
want
work
no
out? How'd that
altercation,
work
like-
out? That you not wanting to get in between? Because you are permanently wedged in between. So for a guy who doesn't want to get involved, you've gotten really involved. Let's talk about the day that this goes down, all right? What are you doing there that day?
I went there that day to let the dogs out.
The dog's out.
Yeah.
Who let the dogs out?
Your Honor, I do not own a dog.
I do.
Your dog was not
No,
in
no,
my
don't talk to
house.
her. Don't talk to her. Talk to me. That's what she wants. Don't do that.
She is that story she just told you was the exact same thing she told the police when they came, and they was like, "Ma'am, what's the address?" She's like, she didn't even know the exact address of
know how to
her
get there.
house.
I need you to stop interrupting.
So they told
I
her
know how to
then.
get there. You know how we all don't know our address? We just know how to get there? All right, but anyway, what were you doing there that day? You were letting how many dogs out?
I have 2.
You have 2 dogs in that house that you don't live in? Mm-hmm. Okay, where do you stay otherwise? Where do you stay every night? Where do you go?
Around the corner from that house.
And where do you stay? Do you have your own apartment? Mm-hmm. Okay, you pay rent at that apartment, right?
Yes.
And why are your dogs in a place where they're not allowed to be? If you have your own apartment around the corner, why aren't your dogs there?
Because that's where I was at.
And your dogs can't be with you?
They were with me. That's why I went back there to let them out.
No, you're not following me. And I think I'm pretty clear. You have an apartment around the corner.
I wasn't at my apartment around the corner.
I didn't ask you that. You have an apartment around the corner. You got a real attitude for someone who burned down a house. You have an apartment around a corner. You live there. You pay rent there. Why aren't your dogs there instead of in that lady's house who doesn't want you there? So you go to the house to, quote, let out the dogs from someone else's house. And how do you get into the house to let out your dogs?
I went through the window.
Through the window, as we all do, as we are all prone to do when we're walking our dogs. We go in through the window to someone's house who we're not allowed into, and then we take the dogs out. And what happens when you get into the house? By the way, you're with her this time, right?
Correct.
Right. Did you go in through the window too?
No, I couldn't. I didn't go through the window.
She went in through the window, opened the front door for you.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay, then what happens?
He took the dogs on a walk, and I had turned the stove on as
Why?
I did before because to knock the chill off the house. It was cold in
was
there. It was
Just,
May.
I need you to not interrupt.
It's
ahead.
May, but it was still cold in May. So I turned the eyes on to knock the chill off
The
the
what?
house. The burners on.
You
To
turn
knock-
the burners on.
Yes.
Okay.
On the top of the stove to heat up the house just a little bit. And I
Okay,
went
is
to-
this, so this is a gas stove, is it? So there's a flame, right? Then what happens?
and like her back burner.
Did you also turn the oven on to keep you warm?
No. I just
Okay.
turned
Well,
the
that's
top.
what you told the fire department, that you put it on at 6:45 or some such nonsense. I didn't even know ovens went to 6:45. Didn't you tell the fire department that you put the oven on?
I don't remember. And I
You
talked
don't
to
remember?
them-
This wasn't like a big event in your life when the house burned down all around you?
Yeah, it was, but I don't remember talking to them, telling them I turned the
Okay, so
oven on
what? So you
645.
go in there, you're turning on the pilots, you're turning on the flames, and then what happens?
I don't know because I went outside to smoke.
Yeah,
And that's the last thing
except no
that
one
I
thinks you really
remember.
went outside, because when you lit up a cigarette to smoke, what happened?
No, I was already smoking a cigarette outside on the patio,
And then what
waiting for
happened?
him and the dogs to come back. And I woke up in the hospital.
Okay, where are you when all this is going on?
I'm walking the dogs.
Okay. Is this your house, honey?
What's left of it?
So the whole thing goes up in a blaze. You are still there when the fire department comes, correct? Do you talk to the fire department right there, or do they talk to you in the hospital?
They talked to me in the hospital.
In the hospital. When do you have a light bulb turn on in your head about what's going on? How does it happen? You come to the house and it's all on fire?
And it's a whole flame going on.
And were you worried about her?
Yeah, I was worried about you definitely
Yeah,
worried
of
about
course.
her.
But so where was she at that moment?
She was on the ground getting picked up.
And what do?
They pick her up and they take her to the hospital.
Okay. And do you go with her to the hospital? Do you stay at
No,
the
I
house?
had to go take them dogs.
Say it again.
I had to take the dogs somewhere.
Take the dogs where?
I took them to around the corner.
Oh, around the corner where the
yeah.
dogs belong? Okay,
Yeah.
go on.
And then I was on my way up to the hospital.
And then you went to the hospital. Did you, at any point in time, did you call your sister to tell her house had burned down?
No.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Is this defendant responsible because she was smoking around the oven when it was on?
I would say yes, just because I don't think you should be smoking near anything that's really like flammable or anything like that.
You're nodding.
I agree, 100%.
Seems kind of logical. What do you say, sir?
Well, it's stupidity, if not negligence. Yeah.
Stupidity may not be enough. Is it legally, is she responsible for the house burning down?
I'd suggest yes. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
So how do you find out what's going on?
My fiance called me and said the house burned down. How
Much is that house worth?
$50,000.
Okay. The
First, Your Honor,
property-
can I just say this?
Yeah.
Because I just want to specify. The whole story that they're telling is incorrect.
I don't care.
He went to go get some weed. They didn't take no dogs anywhere. He left before the paramedics and everything got there because he had weed on him and he wanted to leave for that. They didn't walk any dogs. They went and she was waiting for him to bring the weed back for them to smoke together.
Yeah.
That is what happened.
Yeah.
And they're just totally lying. And in the fire investigation report, she literally tells the investigators that she cut the oven and
Yeah.
all of the pilots on.
Right. Why are you suing in small claims? I'm wondering.
Because she's a drifter. She does not have a job. She does not work and probably never will. And so the lawyer that I had spoke with, he was like, even if you
Just do your best in small
Yeah, he was like,
claims,
even if
because
you-
otherwise you have to go through lawyers' fees and lots of hoops.
he was like, you will end up paying out more than you will probably ever see.
So, Ms. Jones, if you turned on the pilots and then you turned on a cigarette, and according to the fire report, that's the reason that the house blew up, what's your defense?
I don't remember telling them that.
Were you stoned when this happened?
No.
Had you come back, he's out for the weed, or they ran out of weed, or they, either way, what is your defense to blowing up her house? Because they clear you from arson. Arson is a criminal act. They say she didn't mean to blow up the house. I believe that. I don't think you meant to blow up the house. You want to be able to keep going in there and using it when you want to during the day while she's at work. But this is a different lawsuit. This is a lawsuit saying you're negligent. What you did was negligent, and it blew up my house. So what's your defense to that?
I didn't blow her house up.
Did you light up a cigarette?
Yes.
Did you turn on the pilots?
Yes.
Well, then who did blow up her house? If that's how the house blew up, according to the fire department.
Because it was raggedy. It blew up.
Because it was raggedy.
Yeah, there was something wrong with her stove. That's why her house blew
It was raggedy, that house you keep breaking into.
Yeah.
Raggedy house.
She's so full of it.
Honest to God.
And I don't
Well-
understand why you're here with her.
Well, you know what? That's going to be for you two to discuss next Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, because that's not my concern. You know what my concern is? To decide whether or not you were negligent to the tune of the amount that she's asking, and I find that you were, and you're going to pay that lady $6,000, the statutory max in small claims, verdict for the plaintiff.
So, no question about it, the plaintiff is going to get the full amount she's seeking, $6,000. What's your reaction to what all has just happened here?
I don't know. I don't really even have a reaction.
I mean, you didn't say too much in court.
I
You
don't
didn't
really
have a
got
lot
too
to
much
say.
to say.
And why are you here? Your sister will ask why you were here with her. How do you answer that?
That's my friend right here. I've been her since high school, man. So it was just going to pick up a couple things and be out. Didn't know it was going to go like this.
Do you blame her for the house burning down?
Nah, I don't blame nobody for real.
You don't blame anybody. Huh?
Nah.
Do you think this is going to cause a rift between you and your sister?
Might.
You worried about that?
A little bit.
But you're smiling, you're laughing. You're like, this is funny. It
love my
doesn't seem
sister,
funny
man.
to anybody watching. You
I
know, that's
love my
pretty,
sister, man.
pretty serious issue here. And you're one for the books, as they say, you know? Sorry about that. Go ahead. You may sign some documents on your way out. Wow.
Are y'all sleeping together?
What a case. What are you thinking?
I'm confused. Are they sleeping together or something? I don't understand. That's his friend? She
Strange, strange.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are they sleeping together? She's sleeping with my brother and my father? That's like, they look like a couple to me. Like, that's
You're
not
right.
like, they
You're
look like
right.
a couple.
You're
Like,
right.
what's going on?
So what happens now between you and your brother? Forget about her.
I don't have anything to say to him.
Really?
I don't have anything to say to him. For him to even say, like, oh, I don't feel like she's responsible or stuff like I don't have anything to say to him again. Like, he can stay drifting with her.
Okay. Well, congratulations. You won the case.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry about the house issues.
Thank you.
Very strange case, Harvey.
Okay, I mean, you might think on a level, Doug, this is crazy because the house is worth 50 grand. She's only suing for 6 grand. But the reality is sometimes you're not going to get that kind of money from the person you're suing, number one. And number two, it goes a lot faster than in a bigger court. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.